Okay, let's see if we're live here. Open another window. And we're good to go. All right. So, lots of stuff going on in the world today. Obviously, we all know that Ukraine is under attack by the autocratic government of Russia, led by President Putin, who wants to reassemble the the governments from the old Soviet Union. He wants to get all that territory back, and I think the man's a narcissist. I don't know if he's as bad as Trump is. It could be worse because he actually has power, and he's not an idiot. Trump is an idiot, and he doesn't have power. So, yeah, so Putin's much worse. He's actually invading another country. Anyways, one of the problems that we have is the propaganda coming from the right wing. It has no basis in reality. They literally live in their own world. In fact, the only way you can believe what some of these Republican politicians say is if you only watch Fox News. Fox News is the propaganda arm of the right wing Republican Party. They are leaning fascist, moving away from democracy, supporting an autocracy. A lot of people don't know this, but I think it was maybe several weeks ago or a month ago, America lost its standing or recognition in the world as being a democracy. And there's a term that they replace it with. It's called an anocracy, which means it's in between autocracy or democracy, or basically it's a democracy that's in danger of going away. And that's the United States. As it stands now, the biggest threat to the country, Republicans and Trump and propaganda. So anyways, they populate and send out these radical stories, and their philosophy, just crazy talking points from Fox News. A lot of people may not realize this, but there is a kernel of somewhat of journalistic integrity, and that would be on the news side of Fox News. How they get away with lying to their audience with people like Tucker Carlson, who's a fascist, white supremacist. Sean Hannity, also he's just an ass kisser. Whoever has power in the Republican Party, he's up their butt. And whoever is against that person, for whatever reason, whether it be the opposition party or not, is evil and wanting to come after your kids. Same thing with Judge Janine. She's just awful. And then Laura Ingraham. And the ironic part is, I don't know if you guys saw this, maybe I'll play it for you, but while Trump had sent his people to attack the Capitol, the Fox News folks were texting him, or trying to text him. They were definitely texting the Chief of Staff, Mark Meadows, to please get Trump on there to stop his people from trying to overthrow the government. And they were doing it mainly for optics. Not that they didn't disagree with it, but that they knew this was hurting him. Only Fox News could save him. And they did. They turned January 6th from having Republicans blast Trump to now kissing his ass. Mark Meadows being a prime example. What he said about Donald Trump right afterward was well said. Same with Mitch McConnell. And I think it was maybe 3 weeks afterward, Mark Meadows went down to Mar-a-Lago and kissed the ring. The guy has no spine. Not many folks in the Republican Party have spine. They're all scared. Scared of Donald Trump and his ruthless mob of supporters. So anyways, that's a long preamble. I wanted you guys to see this because Fox News has the opinion side and the journalism side. They use that to basically kind of mask and hide the fact that they're lying to their customer. They give it a shade of journalistic. I mean, you should see them. The talking heads on Fox News look like journalists. Tucker Carlson, Sean Hannity, they dress the part. They got their talking head in. They've got their talking points and their propaganda lies. And they look just like any of the regular Fox news side people when they're giving their parts. So I want you to see, I think this is called The Five. It's a Fox News right-wing show where, you know, if you're a liberal, you're awful. If you're gay, you're awful. If you're black, you're awful. You get the picture. You got to be pro-white. You know, got to be male-dominated, male patriarchy, and I wouldn't even say it's pro-capitalism. It's basically pro-fascism. So here is The Five talking about Russia and it's looking at attacking and invading Ukraine. Check this out.
There's something else going on here that feels very, very manufactured. I don't know what it is, but it just seems to me that
what it is.
Go for it.
It's Jake Sullivan.
Yeah.
Jake Sullivan is the
That's
National
Kennedy.
Security Advisor. He's in Deep Yogurt in the Durham probe, and he's been the one saying we have so much intelligence. An invasion is imminent. They said that last
MTV.
Friday.
Yeah.
It's the next Friday. Here we are.
Personality.
I don't think Putin is going to invade.
Well, Jesse,
How about
I
that?
think, first of all, I need to level set with the conversation.
Okay, this is the real Fox News side. And she jumps in there to cut off Jesse Waters, horrible human being. He's the guy that made fun of Asian people in Chinatown to their faces. It was bad. He used to work for Bill O'Reilly, and he was the guy that they would send out to ambush people to make them look bad and harass them. That was Jesse Waters. So anyways, this lady here, I'm not sure what her name is, but she is there to take on what just transpired. So this is live.
I've just been listening to. What we are witnessing right now is not something that just changed in the last 24 hours. If you go back to notes that I've been sending out for the last 2 weeks, this is something we've been watching in terms of you have commercial satellite imagery, you have the buildup of forces, the type of forces, the numbers of forces, things that we've been told in advance to look for in terms of some of the disinformation that is already starting to appear, the false flag operations in the Donbass region. All of that is ticking up. This is something that through a web of intelligence sources as well as the surveillance imagery that you can see with your own eyes. This is something that has been expected. They have been watching it very closely, and they feel that they are now in the final hours and days in which there is still a small possibility to try to get Putin to accept the off-ramp of diplomacy. But
I'm going to pause it right there. It's a very important note. This is obviously before the invasion began. The United States intelligence folks, who Donald Trump actually took Putin's side over. I don't know if you remember, but back when Putin and Trump met for the first time and they were talking about how, well, they weren't talking about, but it was being discussed in the regular world here in the United States about Russia's attempts to interfere with the election. And one of the reporters asked Trump about that. Said, hey, look, you know, the United States, our intelligence agencies have pretty much said that it was Putin. This was right in front of him. And Donald Trump just kowtowed. He bent right over for Putin. He said, well, I've seen this Putin, and he doesn't strike me as the type of person that would do that, and I don't know why they would. Basically siding with Putin over our own intelligence agency. Granted, we've had some mistakes, but they nailed it on this thing with the Russians. Every step of the way that the intelligence agency and Biden had let us know what was going on, it was bop, bop, bop. He checked every box as they were coming. So they nailed it on the head there.
But as you heard from President Biden, and it is extremely significant, what he just said in terms of, from his point of view, Putin has already made a decision. That coincides with what I am hearing here at the Pentagon, from Western intelligence sources, from Western allies. This is a very different situation than I've heard comparisons to the Iraq War and WMD, and well, how do we know? We're seeing it with our own eyes.
Very important to note that there. She's on Fox News. Every night, Fox News has been hammering home lies. They've done it with Hillary Clinton, like the whole John Durham report. They've lied about that until the point where Hillary Clinton had mentioned malice, talking about how the right wing of Fox News had been attacking her, which is a legal term that you can use to set up a basically a libel lawsuit. Once she did that, Fox News dropped the story. They didn't say why it went away. It just went away. They were lying the whole time. They need something to hate, someone to hate, because the Republicans stand for nothing. They have nothing but culture wars and lies. So with them drumming that up every single night, the news person has to come in and actually correct those lies that they were been saying.
If you can't look at the kind of Iskander missile battalions that are now in Belarus, 30,000 Russian troops there, half of his Air Force has now been deployed toward Ukraine. I'm told just moments ago from a senior defense official that 40% of his 190,000 troops who are on the border with Ukraine are now in attack positions. That is something that we have been waiting for. They were in those barracks. They are now moving into assault positions. They could move in a matter of hours or days. And this is something that needs to be watched closely. This is not some backwater. This is Europe. This is one of the largest military actions being threatened to redraw the map of Europe since World War II.
Hi, it's Stacey Abrams.
All right, we'll stop that there. Bingo. Fox News having to correct its own Fox News. Let's put in here, I want you guys to see about Tucker Carlson. Let's see here. When he was siding with Putin. As a matter of fact, look, I think it's popping up already.
Jimmy, I am the host of the show. Thank you for watching at home, and thank you.
Jimmy Kimmel did something on that, but we're not going to go through the Jimmy Kimmel thing there because it's got a lot on there, and I could get slapped with a infringement copyright tag. So let's try this again. Tucker Carlson loves Putin. Let's see if that pops something up. Okay, there it is again. That one. How long is the view one here? 3 minutes? This is probably going to
Because after decades of conservative warnings about the threat posed by Russia, Tucker Carlson had a different take last night. Take a look.
Okay.
Why do I hate Putin so much? Has Putin ever called me a racist? Has he threatened to get me fired for disagreeing with him? Does he eat dogs? These are fair questions, and the answer to all of them
Very
is
fair
no.
questions.
Vladimir Putin didn't do any of that. So why does permanent Washington hate him so much?
Fox News, ladies and gentlemen.
Did he say, does he eat dogs?
Yeah.
Does he?
I'm so sorry. I know I don't laugh great. It's probably really bad. I may have. I don't know if I clipped somebody's amp there or was peaking, but sorry about that. It's hilarious. Does he eat dogs? God, there's another Tucker thing that was out there I was going to play for you guys. I probably should have written this out first, but I just got a wild hair and figured I'd go live and just start throwing some stuff up here. I haven't done this in a bit, and it's kind of like stressfully for me. And for me, it's actually comedy, which we need a little bit of right now. With the attacks going on in the world, that's a very serious thing. It's very scary. We have a former president who's attacking our own government and siding with the enemy. That's a scary thing. Even more scary than that is he has a cult of people that believe no matter what he says is true. We still may be a government that would get overthrown by our own fascists and Nazis in our own country. So I needed a break from that. Although it's kind of ironic I'm not getting a break from that. I'm talking to you about it, but at least we can laugh. At least we can just laugh about that. All right, so he was siding with Putin there. Does he eat dogs? Let me just see. If I just type in Tucker Carlson, let's see what comes up. I don't want a full show. Okay, let's just hit that. Oh, Fox News. Lies. lies covering the truth, the 5 lies. Oh my God. So that's one thing I cannot do. Look at this. He hates Justin Trudeau, loves Putin. I cannot do Fox News. We need to get out of there. Let me just go into the home and see if something pops up, because I always browse my own stuff here. I like what I like. So a lot of the stuff will be related to politics and cars and Star Trek, all kinds of stuff that I like. Science fiction. Wears the same suit. Love this guy here. He's fantastic. Vouch. Cars. Ah, look, my car. Ooh, okay, this is something I haven't seen yet.
Because markets
So it looks
underwear
like,
feels like real
you
fabric
know, there are
underwear.
protests being
It's
held
soft,
in Moscow.
holds in-
Nick Robertson is
Protesting.
in Moscow for us today.
Okay, let's see.
And Nick, you know, where you are today, a crucial place to be. A short time ago, Russian riot police ordered anti-war protesters, who I understand did brave things, to come out there near you to disperse. Tell me what you're seeing and how much resistance is there to President Putin?
Yeah, Aaron, I'm literally going to step out of the way of the camera right now, because you can see 3 people here just being arrested. There isn't so much of a central protest here. These are some ladies here that are in this central area of Moscow. While we've been here for the past 45 minutes, there's another person being dragged out of the subway here by his face, being dragged by the police, being arrested, thrust up against the vehicle, being frisked. We've seen dozens of people being arrested here over the last 45 minutes. Now, what the police have been explaining here is that there is no authorized anti-war protest allowed here. We've seen people, when they've been arrested, the police search their bags and they take out of their bags signs that say, "Stop the war." Then they're loaded into the police vans. We've seen that happen time after time after time over the last 45 minutes here. We know across the country, in dozens of cities, there have been protests similar to this. The government says they're not authorized protests. They've warned people not to attend them. They say that people can get arrested, that there will be legal repercussions, and the government even says, you know, if you get a criminal record for criminal activity at one of these events, then that can affect you for the rest of your life. And I'll just spin around this way. Here's another man just being taken away and arrested here. This is happening literally by the minute, and I'm looking at another 1-2 people coming up behind Liliana, our camerawoman. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Well, these 6 other people here, literally while we've been talking to you in the past couple of minutes, more than 10 people have been arrested. There's another man being taken away there. That's what we're witnessing here. And we'll just spin the camera around a little bit, and you can see some of the other police officers that are here. They're dotted all around here, lined along the road in this direction, the other side of the street, across the road over there. The big square close to where we are, that's been closed off to the public, and the police are getting on their megaphones every few minutes to tell people, you're not authorized to be here. Go in the metro, take the underground, take the tube, and leave the area. But every so often, people are getting arrested. We know so far today, at least about an hour ago, more than 160 people across the country have been arrested. It would seem to me now it's at least 200 from what we've seen here, Aaron.
Wow, Nick Robertson, those people, it is bold and it is brave what they are doing. Thank you so very much.
Good. I'd like to see that. Like to see that. You know what? I will put on some images here of the war. It's certainly, it's sad. Here's let me see, Fox.
Today, Ukraine. What will be tomorrow? You think Putin's going to stop only on Ukraine? He's just a real fascist.
Yes.
He's a Hitler, like you said. He's a liar, liar, and liar.
Breaking news happening right now. Russia is mounting a full-scale invasion of Ukraine. Moscow unleashing the largest attack on a European state since World War II.
And tonight we know civilians have died, tens of thousands have fled, and Russian forces are closing in on Ukraine's capital.
Tonight, world leaders are slapping sanctions on the Kremlin.
And President Biden called out Vladimir Putin directly as a tyrant.
Good evening. Welcome to Fox 11 News at 5. I'm Alex Michaelson.
And I'm Christine Devine. Thanks for being with us.
We have live team coverage of all this tonight.
Fox 11 Susan Hirasuna is hearing from Southern Californians directly impacted by the conflict.
But let's begin tonight with Carolyn Shively live tonight in Washington. Carolyn.
Good evening, Alex and Christine. President Biden announced the most severe financial sanctions ever imposed on Russia this afternoon, but noted it would take a month or so before Russia feels the full effects. That's time the Ukrainian people may not have. As Mr. Biden spoke in Washington, explosions could be heard across Ukraine. Chaos overseas. Russia launching a large-scale military attack on Ukraine. Airstrikes hitting different areas of the country as tanks and troops take over city streets. Ukraine losing control of the Chernobyl nuclear plant. Russian President Vladimir Putin warning other countries that any attempt to interfere would lead to consequences they have never seen.
This is a grave situation that's changing the balance of power in Europe.
Ukraine's president declared martial law, vowing his country will defend itself against this attack. Cameras captured a massive traffic jam in Kyiv with many...
I'm going to pause it right there. So, Zelensky has actually stated and is enforcing, they're giving guns and weapons to the citizens of Kyiv. And I think anyone in Ukraine that's around that can get them, he's going to say, look, you guys, if you want to fight this, these people are coming, and they are coming. If you'll see the way they're tracking in from a three-prong attack from the south, the east, and the north, just they're moving in. They're going out to try to get Kiev. They have to get Kiev in order to take the whole entire Ukraine, and they either need to take that, have Zelensky flee the country, or kill him. So they've started arming the people there because this is going to be bad. I just wanted to throw that out there. The guy's life is obviously very much in danger. He's trying his best to lead through this. The U.S. can't help him. None of the NATO countries are really helping him. We can't send troops in, which the reason why we can't do that is because if we do, or if one of the other ones do, and they get into a skirmish with Russia, then they all have to fight with Russia, and you've got World War III. So because Ukraine is not part of NATO, it's like we all have to sit on the sidelines and watch this. It's terrible.
Many drivers rushing to get out. Some on the ground plan on staying no matter what.
This is our land, and we will fight to the last.
President Biden held a virtual meeting with the G7 leaders Thursday to discuss their response to Russia's actions.
Putin is the aggressor. Putin chose this war.
The president has vowed no U.S. troops will be sent to Ukraine. He announced another round of sanctions targeting Putin and his associates.
We will limit Russia's ability to do business in dollars, euros, pounds, and yen to be part of the global economy.
The Pentagon has ordered 7,000 more troops into Germany, arriving in the next few days. Alex and Christine, back to you.
Caroline, so Ukraine was hit on multiple sides. What are you hearing about casualties?
They're mounting at this hour, Christine. Ukraine's president said nearly 137 people, including civilians, have been killed in the attacks, 300 injured. We expect those numbers to go out come morning. He also said that saboteurs have entered Kyiv, and he is target number one.
Wow. Think about all the innocent people that are suffering at this hour. Caroline, thank you so much.
Google Fi, a phone plan that can.
Okay, so obviously Joe Biden, he's the president. I'm pleasantly surprised at how he's been handling it. He's been very methodical, not going over the edge. Let's see what Donald Trump's reaction is and how he is working to help America and our ally, Ukraine. Let's see. Oh man, these idiots here. How much is this? Can I stand it for enough? Oh God, I don't know if I can do it.
Well, let's get straight to it. Let's bring in the 45th President of the United States.
This is going to be hard.
Donald Trump. Mr. President, thank you so much for joining Fox and Friends Weekend.
Well, thank you. It's an honor. And we have a lot of problems in this country, but it's an honor to be with you.
Well, we're grateful to have you, sir. Well, let's start with the headline we've had all morning long. You know, what's happening in Russia, what's happening in Ukraine. The White House right now is saying an attack could happen at any time. On your assessment, where are we and how did we get here?
Well, first of all, it's shocking because this should have never happened. It should have never happened. It would not have happened. And how we got here is when they watched Afghanistan and they watched the most incompetent withdrawal in the history of probably any army, let alone just us. They saw that, and President Xi and President Putin, watch what happens with China very soon, but with Taiwan. But they watched that and they said, what's going on? They don't know what they're doing. And all of a sudden, I think they got a lot more ambitious. I think Putin really wanted to negotiate for a period of time. I think when he watched Afghanistan, when he watched that unbelievably bad withdrawal, incompetent, where they took the military out first, where they left $85 billion worth of equipment behind for the Taliban to have and to sell and to use. And, of course, the death that happened. When they watched all of that, I think they got emboldened.
President Trump, Joe Biden is scheduled to be on a call today with Vladimir Putin. What do you think he can say? What should he say? If you were in office today, what would you say to Vladimir Putin?
Awful. Yes, sir. What would you
like
to do
I wouldn't be in this position because we're in a very bad position right now. And it would have, as I said, it would never have happened. I know him very well, got along with him very well. I stopped his pipeline. I sanctioned them more than anybody ever sanctioned them. Nobody was ever tougher on Russia, but I got along with Putin very well. We respected each other. I think you have a whole different ballgame right now. This is just an exercise. He's not going to tell him anything, and I don't think Putin's at this point going to be listening. It's going to be very interesting to see what he does in terms of the depth. Will he take a small piece? When Biden originally said he's going in, everybody was like, did he just say that? Nobody could believe it, but he said it. And it was almost like a card. Ukraine went crazy when he saw that, when they heard that, the president. But now the phone call, I think, is perfunctory. I don't think much is going to come out of it.
Yes, sir. Republicans have introduced a bill that would block aid to Ukraine until our southern border is secure. The thinking is, why would we be worried about a border in Europe when there is a disaster happening right here?
I can't do it. They're anti-immigrant, anti-browning of America, propaganda, white supremacist bullshit. I can't take it. I can't. I did. Let's see how long did I last. 3 minutes. That may be a record. That may be a record. 3 minutes of Fox News, ladies and gentlemen. All right. Well, let's see here. Trump. Oh, sorry about that. I don't want to be full screen. All right. Yep. It's so funny. So all the night guys have been all over that. All right. Here we go. Should be it.
Why doesn't every home in the U.S. have solar panels? The number one reason is not about sunlight or weather.
A state of emergency has been declared in Ukraine. Reservists as old as 60 are being called up. CBS News international correspondent Charlie D'Agata is in the capital of Kyiv.
It's not a fair fight. The Ukrainian military is far outgunned, far outnumbered in terms of the sheer firepower that Russia has. The first thing that's going to happen, and we've already seen hints of it here, is there's going to be a cyber attack. So they cripple communications, including going after the Ministry of Defense. So that's the first thing that's going to happen. The lights will go out, the electricity will go out, people won't be able to communicate. That's obviously going to make it difficult for anybody trying to defend this territory.
This mom is leaving Kyiv with her toddler for a city near the Polish border.
It's time for me to leave Kyiv.
She posted a video diary pointing out this sign that says the parking lot is also an emergency bomb shelter.
You can come and hide here.
Newspaper headlines are calling Vladimir Putin Mad Vlad and Twisted Putin. He marked Russia's Veterans Day in Moscow's Red Square. But the tense showdown is doing nothing to bridge the great political divide here in the USA. Former President Trump created a firestorm by calling the Russian dictator a genius.
This is genius. Putin declares a big portion of the Ukraine. Putin declares it as independent. I said, how smart is that? Here's a guy who's very savvy.
Trump's former Secretary of State, Mike Pompeo, is also taking heat for making this remark about Putin.
They're the party
I consider
of
him
traitors.
a elegantly sophisticated counterpart.
He's talking
And they
about
talk
a man
shit about
now
Biden.
who has threatened nuclear extinction on NATO, on the United States.
Americans everywhere are already feeling the impact of the crisis in Ukraine.
We're
in
not
our
paying
pocketbooks.
$6, by the way.
Gas prices are soaring in every state, but here in California, they're higher than anywhere else. At this station in downtown Los Angeles, the price is $6.25 a gallon.
Wow.
But here's a tip. Prices are generally cheaper on a Monday morning. And avoid Thursdays because that's the day prices are the highest.
Okay, interesting there. Let's see what the ladies on The View say about that. It's only a
Well,
minute, I think.
yesterday, President Biden slammed Russian leader Vladimir Putin for flagrantly violating the international law by sending Russian troops into the Ukraine. Now, Biden vowed to impose crippling sanctions that would cut off Russia from Western finance. But you know who seems to be so much more impressed by Putin's moves on this.
Treasonous
Let's take a look.
President
I went in
Trump.
yesterday and there was a television screen, and I said, this is genius. Putin declares a big portion of the Ukraine. Putin declares it as independent. Oh, that's wonderful. So Putin is now saying it's independent, a large section of Ukraine. I said, how smart is that? And he's going to go in and be a peacekeeper. Here's a guy who's very savvy.
Let's talk about
I know him very
peacekeeping
well.
after this.
Very, very well. By the way, this never would have happened with us. Had I been in office, not even thinkable. This would never have happened.
He would have given Ukraine away.
Country, but that's something else.
Oh, maybe she said that?
This would never have happened.
No, you would have sold the country, but that's something else.
Okay. Yeah, sold out the country for sure.
That wouldn't have happened that is the dumbest remark, and a lot of people in the GOP right now are buying this lie that he would have solved the problem. He would have said, here is Ukraine. Take it.
Well,
and I'm going to build a casino there any minute now.
Well, exactly. Thank God he's in America because he can say that. If he were in Putin's Russia, Trump could be taken out for that.
Exactly.
She
and
must be
remember,
the right-winger.
Trump is the one that was trying to, I guess, get Ukraine's help in the election. Wasn't that Biden? Wasn't that the big part of it?
Yeah, that's
trying
why
to
he was
get Biden
impeached the first time.
The traitorous
information of
behavior
Biden?
that's going on right now on the right is just, it's unbelievable to me. Having grown up in a country that fought this fascism, we are now becoming the people that we fought.
Well, they'd like us to become the people that.
These new goldfish megabytes are technically.
So, speaking of peacekeeping, that's Putin's propaganda. Peacekeeping is so he's claimed. Now he's the one that did the aggression, the attacks, all this. He's saying that in the Russian-speaking areas of the Ukraine, the ones closer to the border with Russia, actually want to be under Russia, and that they're being genocided. They're all being killed by Zelensky and the Ukrainian government. He even called them Nazis. It's unbelievable. So that's the propaganda he's put out. And They basically sent the troops in, and he said they're peacekeeping troops. They're the ones that are going to protect from this genocide, which doesn't exist. And now they're attacking Kiev, and I mean, it's so paper thin, it's see-through. I don't know what Fox is lying about it now because it's so obviously blatant that Ukraine is being attacked under no provocation at all by an autocratic government. I don't know what they've got left. I mean, right now, I think the right wing, those guys will follow anybody. They would, if Hitler was here, and I'm not saying Trump is Hitler, but if Hitler was running, he would be running as a right-wing Republican person, and he probably would be dominating that party. They would love him. If Jesus came back, and I don't believe in Jesus, but I like some of the stuff that was written about him in the fairy tale of the New Testament. If Jesus came back, boy, they would have him run out of the country so quick, it wouldn't even be funny. But anyways, I've probably rambled on enough. I haven't done this in a long time. I want to get doing it a little more. So anyways, thanks for watching. Sorry about the delay at the beginning. I'll be doing this more. If you have any suggestions on anything I do better or topics to cover, please let me know. Thanks. Take care.